Hello everyone. I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, Sage ERP Intelligence Reporting, Automatic Financial and Management Reports at the click of a button. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us today. Before we get started, there are a couple housekeeping items we'd like to mention. All of the attendees are in listen-only mode. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please either push the hand icon to raise your hand and we will unmute you, or you can type into the question box and we will field that question up to our presenter for a response. We will be answering questions throughout the presentation, and we will circle back at the conclusion to respond to any previously unanswered questions. Now I'd like to introduce today's speaker. From Sage, we have industry expert John Woodward. John is a field sales engineer for Sage, focusing on Sage 100 and Sage CRM. In this role, John specializes in assisting Sage business partners like Socius in demonstrating the value and benefits of Sage products. He has worked with Sage 100 for 22 years, including several years as a user, before beginning his 17-year career at Sage. John lives in Huntington Beach, California, and now, John, we're ready to transition the presentation over to you.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. So, once again, I'm a long-time, user of Sage 100, CRM, Sage Intelligence, going back to 1994 when I started as a receiving clerk in a warehouse in a distribution company in the Southern California area. So 22 years later, now I'm still working with Sage 100, lots of changes. And today what we're going to be doing is looking at Sage Intelligence. So introduction to Sage Intelligence, what does it do, what are its components, how to get to, how to launch it, how to interface with it, some of the tools and features, and how to learn more. So we're just going to kind of talk to kind of everything as far as, what it is, what it's for, how it can benefit you, and then drill into, of course, how to get into and look at it and the tools embedded in the software, and give you some resources to learn more about it and to leverage your investment and how to get more out of the product. So what is Sage Intelligence? So it is a single tool with Excel as the front end. So in most cases, in most businesses that I have talked to, there are many, many experts in Excel. You're using Excel for various facets of your business and reporting needs. So what this means is you get to leverage a tool that you already know. You don't have to learn something new. Sage Intelligence accommodates all of your reporting needs, from financials to operations to dashboards and even beyond the ERP in Sage 100. So there's no need to have a tool for just financials. There's not another tool for just your operational reporting. And then even beyond that, to other applications you may need to report on. And then it is all integrated with Sage 100. So you can pull that data into, and it empowers you to quickly and easily obtain information that you need for improved reporting access across your entire business. Now again, this is based on the very familiar Microsoft Excel application. Sage Intelligence Reporting uses data from all modules of Sage 100, as well as any other ODBC compliant database like SQL, Access. Even if you want to make your own connections, using Excel lets you effortlessly create reports and analyze data, improving your visibility into the organization and helping you make more informed decisions. Sage Intelligence comes with predefined reports, so you can kind of go in and utilize some of those predefined reports. These reports save time since they're reusable templates, so you can take those predefined reports and create new ones from them, or manipulate those to meet your specific needs. And the great thing here is you don't have to recreate those. You can actually copy those and refresh to get new data into the system. So it's easy to get up and running with the pre-built configured reports. You can use and modify, as well as building completely new reports to see the data the way you need to see them. Now, it does come with As far as the components, report manager, you get one report manager free with standard reports. Those reports, and we're going to detail this in a little more detail, dashboard with P&L charts, top 5 expenses, top 5 customers by item, and various other items, GL transaction detail, GL trend analysis, inventory, purchase and sales. There's a relatively new report utility that allows you to access and pull in more reports for free, and I'll show you how to access, view the reports, see what the reports are, see samples, and actually download the utility, which will directly download into the system. We'll go into the report designer, and the designer is really for your financial statements, so income statement, balance sheet, trial balance layouts that can be generated at a click, and then of course the ability to modify using Excel and Sage Intelligence functionality with the layout generator, which is a point and click tool, as well as the task pane, which gives you a little more advanced. So if you're a little more advanced or an intermediate user of Excel, you can leverage your knowledge of Excel and have a little more power and control over creating new reports. So what are the benefits of Sage Intelligence? First of all, it is going to help you eliminate spreadsheet chaos. Now I kind of see this from two ends. I see spreadsheet chaos coming in from even when I'm demoing Sage 100 to people who are on older systems and or smaller systems like QuickBooks or Sage 50 that basically have outgrown their system and are trying to manage with spreadsheets. And then I see essentially the same thing happening after users have been on Sage 100 for a while, that maybe they're not as familiar with Crystal. Crystal's a mystery. They're more familiar with Excel, so they like to take the information from Sage 100 and push it out into a spreadsheet and then work with it that way. Well, that is something we can definitely do, but it's not an automatic connection. I have to take the data, I have to push it out, and if you have 4 or 5 people doing that, what version of the spreadsheet is the most current? When was the last time you pulled the data in from Sage 100? So you get a situation of spreadsheet chaos. How many versions, when was the last time it was updated? So we're going to try to help eliminate that by having Excel connected directly to Sage 100 via the ODBC data connection. Saves time and money, because again, with that chaos, you're wasting time. You don't have the right information. You can make mistakes. This is just going to be able to help you automate the report preparation, take less time as far as getting the data out of the system into a spreadsheet and utilizing and formatting that, and essentially, again, with that direct connection to the database. Flexible reporting, customize and manipulate the reports. Improve collaboration. The person, can design a report based on specific requirements of your business or your specific employees or executives. Those reports can be set up and then automated to be sent out to those users on a predefined interval, so they have the most relevant data at the right time, if you will. You consolidate data, so if you have multiple data sources, not only can you report on Sage 100, we can report on any ODBC compliant database, so you can get other sources of data incorporated into your reporting. Out of the box value, so again, we provide sample reports out of the box, so you can utilize the sample reports, use that as a basis to kind of see how they are set up, modify the existing reports, and or use that as a mechanism to kind of learn how the formulas are created and to learn about generating reports and create your own. And then again, going back to the familiar interface of Excel, leveraging that tool that you already are familiar with. Right, so now we're going to take a look at the components. So probably the most, the one that you will live in the most will be the report manager. Report Manager is where you will actually be able to edit and customize standard reports and create new reports. The Report Viewer is going to be where, as I say, the consumer of data. You're not going to create the report there, but the report gives you the ability to access a previously created report, view, and analyze that data. And then the Report Designer is think of this financial report designer, if you will, easily create and edit financial statements with predefined layouts and utilize reporting trees. And then the connector. So this is important as far as the connector is utilized to create those connections to the databases. Multi-company and multi-currency consolidations are possible. The ability to create new reports on any part of the Sage 100 system, and connectivity to other ODBC compliant databases. And we're going to take a look in more detail at the Report Manager. And again, I'm going to show you this live too, so you know where to go to find it, how to go in and access it, how it's set up. So essentially, this is the authoring tool for report layouts. So this is where you would go to run a report, make modifications to an existing report, or create a new report. You can store and organize your report in easy to use to manage folders. And again, you can see on the screenshot here, designer reports, financials, inventory purchases. You can create your own custom reports to create your own organization system for the reports that you create. And it allows you to set up and view the report properties, parameters, files, and aggregate filters associated with your reports. The connector. So the connector is that all-important way that we are linking the Excel database or the Excel spreadsheets to, via the Sage Intelligence tools, to the Sage 100 database. Now in this case, you can see that first driver there is the MAS 19 4.0 ODBC driver, and then the Sage MAS. Now I'll show you in more detail. I can drill into that and see all of the predefined containers that it's essentially utilized to access the data tables and fields. And that's also where I can create new containers to access a table that may not be there already. So containers store expression, fields on which you're going to report from. And of course, this is where I can create connections to connect to other compliant databases. And again, ODBC compliance, CRM, SQL, Access, Excel, and many others, as you can see by the listing there. The report viewer. So this is more for a, let's say, a consumer of the information that is being presented in a report. So this is someone who's going to come into the viewer, select a predefined report or previously created reports, and run and access. They need information from the system. These are the reports that have been generated and made available, and someone who just needs to get that information can access and review the reports via the report viewer. I am not able to make changes in this case. This is essentially only the viewer. And then again, just going back to as far as the standard reports, now we see a screenshot dashboard analysis. So that dashboard analysis, we have a screenshot of that on the screen right now, which includes, just want to point out here is, again, going back to the first point, we mentioned that it's not a strictly financial. I can do operational reports. So this is actually a great example of kind of the power and flexibility of Sage Intelligence, in that I'm looking at financial information in the profit and loss. I'm looking at revenue, cost of sales for a specific period, the budgeted information, the actual variance information, my top 5 expenses, my top customers by item. So I can look at and combine financial data and, let's say, statistical data on sales or customers, etc. Now, in addition to the dashboard analysis, we have financial trend analysis, GL transaction details, sales, inventory status, purchase information, and then we have the financial report designer. So there's an asterisk there because that may be something, depending on your plan, and that's something you can talk to associates as far as you may need to purchase it, or depending on your specific maintenance plan, you may get a copy of the financial report designer. I will leave that as a question as far as do you have that, do you need that, as a question that you can ask your rep with associates about. Okay, so the financial report designer, I think the primary purpose, or we brought Sage Intelligence into the Sage family primarily as a report designer, but of course we're not limited to financial reports. So there are kind of two levels, if you will. The layout generator. The layout generator is a graphical wizard-like tool, if you will, for new or novice Excel users. So if you can you know what a spreadsheet is, you can launch Excel, but you're not, let's say an advanced Excel user, you can utilize this tool to help you lay out your report, what your columns will be, what your rows will be. Do you want spacers? Just, helping you graphically design what you want your report to look out. And it's just simply a matter of point and click, double click to add it to add a column, drag and drop and add spacers or move columns and fields around. So it's a very easy tool to utilize. The task pane is for, I wouldn't say advanced, but a more intermediate Excel user, someone who's familiar with, let's say, formulas, how to create formulas, kind of the hidden tool set of Excel. It gives you maximum control and flexibility over creating a report. Now, just to kind of point out is what we'll see here is different categories, and then the task pane allows you and gives you some information where you can look at lists, you can look at formulas, you can look at your reporting trees. So there's a whole list of things that you can have access to pull into a new sheet to utilize to create a custom report on the fly, if you will. And again, with the task pane within Excel, you have the layout, so those pre-configured layouts for balance sheets, balance sheet current period with year to date, income statement, actual versus budget, income statement, actual versus prior. So all of those predefined layouts are available to you to essentially populate that predefined layout, and then you can modify it in just a single one-click generation. List, and the list is essentially Sage General Ledger data. It allows you to create rows of a report. Formulas, calculated balances and fields based on parameters such as the closing balance or the opening balance, different formulas that you can pull into and utilize to create your reports. Inside the tool set is a missing accounts, which will allow you to analyze your existing spreadsheet, compare that against the GL, and it will tell you if any accounts are missing from that spreadsheet. And then trees, as far as the reporting trees for account segmentation. So if you have multiple divisions or departments, you can, of course, set that up in a way so you can see the corporate number and then drill down into department, division, location, etc., based on how you set up your GL and how you need to report across your business. Again, just more about the layout generator. We can select the particular layout as far as income statement, balance sheet, and then we have the tool here that allows us to drag and drop. And we kind of refreshed the design to give you a easier to use tool to create and design your reports. All right, so now we're actually going to drop into the presentation, the demonstration. So I'm going to actually end the show for just a moment, and then I'm actually going to minimize. And what I want to show you first is, let me close out some of my things here. From my desktop, I'm going to go into and just kind of show you as far as Sage 100. where you would find some of those tools. Looks like I've already started it. So under Sage Intelligence, you have a reports folder and a setup folder. So under reports, you will find the viewer, the report viewer, and the report manager. And again, the viewer is going to allow me to access predefined reports. I will not be able to essentially see and design reports here. Again, these are the predefined reports, and I can select and run those from here. So again, that's just for a consumer of data. They're not really a report designer. They're someone who may need access to information that a report was set up for them. I can come through and essentially run and view the report from here. The report manager, which you're going to spend a lot more time in, is accessed here as well. And I've actually already launched it. So when I launched the report manager essentially has, by default, we'll see our let's say the reports that come with the system under dashboards, the dashboard analysis, financials. My reports is a folder I created, inventory. So again, it's that grouping. You are free to create, right-click. I can create a new folder. I can name it what I want to call it. I can copy an existing report and paste it into a folder with the intention of modifying that. In fact, we actually require you to make a copy. So any of the reports that come with the system, if you want to modify it, you actually, we're telling you right here, to edit the report, you must first make a copy. Once you make a copy of it, you modify the copy. So you always have that standard report available as your template to go back to. So as an example, I have run some of the previous reports. So the dashboard as an example, I've already had and launched that. Some reports, depending on how you set up the report, may require or are set up parameters. And so essentially the dashboard we're looking at here, profit and loss, top 5 expenses, top 5 customers by item, the top 5 items, the bottom 5 items. So your sales management team may be able to look at this and help plan as far as maybe we need to talk to our customers, and maybe we need to try to incent the sale of these bottom 5 items. So it's really just information you may need to use. Now, as far as when I'm looking at the report, you'll notice as far as the tabs here, home, you'll always get when you run the reports, again, as a reference as far as if you want to know more about a report, anytime you run a report, the home tab is going to have getting started information, FAQs, how-to videos, webcast tips and tricks. Instructions will give you some details about what you're looking at as far as information about relevant information that you may need to see regarding the report, and then again going back to the dashboard. Now there may be, as far as to set up the report, something for more advanced users. If you want to, how did they do this? Some things you may want to do is if you right click and choose unhide, you can start to see things as far as how was this created, how did they set this up. So you can actually start to unhide sheets and see how information was associated, if you will, or pulled into the report to give you an idea of if you want to copy this data. You can, basically run a predefined report, and you may want to go in and, specifically look at unhide. So you see the chart. So if you are a pivot table type of person, this is probably going to start to give you an idea as far as how they're generating the graphical elements of the dashboard to utilize in your reporting. So that's just one of those examples there. So probably the most common, again, I can run inventory reports. I can run, probably the most common report is the financial report. So if I choose to run the financial report designer, again, this depending on, you may need to purchase the designer. It's just, again, I would talk to associates as far as is it included with your specific plan? Did you purchase it? Do you have it? Do you need to buy it? That's something I would definitely reference and talk to associates about whether you have it or you need to purchase it. So if I choose to run that, and I've actually already ran that, so let me come in and grab the one that I have previously started. So I would run that, and essentially I have it ran out here. So depending on what I want to do, I've actually chosen to run the balance sheet. I would actually just come in and get home and instructions, but I went ahead and ran the balance sheet ahead of time. But what I want to kind of do is start to show you what your options are as far as if you want to generate a new report. You have two options. Again, the task pane option, and or if I go to BI tools, I can do quick generate, quick edit, and manage layouts. So depending on what you need to specifically do, you have many ways to do that. So again, let's say out of the box would be the generate. So quick generate, drop down. If I wanted to do a balance sheet, income statement, trial balance, I would select the type of report that I wanted to generate, and it would generate based on the defaults. If I wanted to edit, I could choose quick edit and basically choose the balance sheet and open that up for it where I can edit that. Now, again, we have the tools that are embedded in the system that allow you to kind of, again, depending on your level of expertise, the manage layouts is a way that, again, if you're creating a brand new tool, this gives me the ability to see the layouts for a balance sheet versus current. So you see all the options here. So I can generate, I can edit, so the same type of options I see here, but I want to actually I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. So now we're looking at the layout generator, and just to give you an idea as far as it's a graphical tool, it's easy to use, but one of the things I want to point out is what you can do is open an existing report, and what you'll notice is as far as how the columns are set up. So you'll see closing balance, prior balance, so, and essentially the spacer. So if you are even unsure how to use it, open up an existing report, open up the layout generator, and it essentially gives you an idea. So you can actually see, okay, here's this column, a space, column, space, and then you can get an idea of what these mean and how to utilize this, and have a specific reference, an example to see how the column is set up, how the rows are set up, the layout options. Now the layout options here, notice, is this section as far as what company, what fiscal year, what budget code. So that can all be set up for you and easy to access. So I recommend it's that you are looking at data. You can't really do damage to your Sage 100 data. We pulled in data, go in and open an existing report. Open up the layout generator, see how that existing report is set up. If you lay out, you can definitely duplicate that. It's a great way to learn is to open up the report and access and review that information. Another thing I'd recommend as far as formulas, if you put your cursor in a field, FX, now I can kind of see what the function, what the fields may be utilizing. That was a summary field, and that's the wrong one, FX here. And some of the things that I'm doing here is essentially, this is showing me the absolute reference for where it's going to pull the GL account, where it's pulling the fiscal year, where it's referencing the period, where it's getting the company code to go pull that data. So I highly recommend, and again, utilizing those predefined reports as a way to learn more about designing your own reports. Now, so that's kind of the designer or let's say, the tool set. Now we'll talk about the task pane a little bit. So again, I have similar options available. It's just a little different format. So the layouts, so here's where, again, the balance sheet, very similar to, again, if I go to BI, quick generate, so the same list here, but it's just a different way of accessing those predefined layouts. So balance sheet, current period, all the same layouts that are available there. If I choose the Manage button, and go right to the layout generator. So you can still access that from here as well, and then go into edit and make changes to and launch the layout generator so you can define it how you want. Now list will be, okay, account categories. If you are designing a report and you may not remember everything is in, let's see, what accounts are there, or what the account groups are, or what the categories are, create a new sheet. Just say add. I have a new sheet, and what I can do is just drag these in as a reference. So I can start to see what those references are. So as I'm designing the report, I can just have this sheet available as a reference to see what the descriptions are, what the types are, what the budget codes are, my main accounts. And then once you're done with your report, you can just delete this sheet. But again, as you are working with the system, it's nice to be able to just go to the sheet to reference what those descriptions are, so you don't have to memorize each and every account and what that is. Just create a new sheet and pull those lists in so you can see what that's referencing. Formulas will give you a list of predefined formulas: opening balance, closing balance, actual year-to-date, budget. Trees, in this example, we can see are at the high level the cities for my company, and then I can break that down and have that so I can actually report on sales across all the cities, or I can drill down to and see sales for Irvine, Atlanta, New York, etc. Tools, and this is the missing account tool, so I can run this and essentially it would look at my current sheet and show me and give me a list of any accounts that are in the GL, chart of accounts in Sage 100, that are not included in the current spreadsheet. And then we get back to layouts. So again, depending on your level of expertise and your level of comfort, you may be utilizing one or more of those tools. You may be just kind of living in the task pane. It's really up to you. Mix and match. Use what you know, and what you are comfortable with. With the system. Now, something I do want to point out is, again, if I say new sheet, and let's say I wanted to say tab, I can say company, tab, ABC, and then I'm going to say fiscal year. Now what I can do is, if I go back to my formulas, just to kind of show you, to pull the current year from the GL. If I need to start to do other things, again, what I can do is now go to the list, I may want more space there, but then I can start to manipulate and start to work with that data to see it how I need to see it. Anything that I don't need to see, as far as I may not need all of this information. I may, I can start to just work with the system. Again, we're using Excel, so I may not need this information populated. Maybe deleting something I didn't need here, so let me do this way. And then you can start to, again, utilize the formulas. Let's just say closing balance. And then you can right-click, format cells, custom. So it's really all the tools of Excel are available Sage 100 to populate your accounts. Now you can utilize the formulas. What we need to do here is essentially tell the system I can access the formula, go to the FX button here, and basically if I am in the GL link, I can highlight my field here, and then essentially what I need to do is hit F4 3 times to reference the correct cell. And then I'll do that, I'll do that for the entire for all the other fields. But it is an easy-to-use tool. You can utilize the formula. You can utilize the list. You can utilize the formulas, the trees to create the reports that you need. Now, I do want to talk about, so that's the designer. Again, designer comes with, the reports. We get into a financial report designer, and that's where we can go into, or sooner, the report manager comes with the standard reports. If you have the report designer, that's where you'll do your financials at the predefined layouts for, again, your balance sheet, the trial balance, your financial tax statements. Now, I do want to show you, as far as your resources to learn more about Sage Intelligence as well, but I do want to touch on the connector before we get into where to go to get more information. So let me minimize. And I'm going to go back into, and I'm going to go to the connector. Now, keep in mind, it's going to look very similar to the report manager. I'm going to go to Enterprise. I'm just going to double-click. Here are all the drivers available. I'm going to specifically drill into now and double-click on the Mass 90 driver, and then drill into the Sage Mass, the Auto Connect here. And you'll see all of what we call containers. Now, the containers are essentially the data that brings in the table and the fields for specific reports. So you can see all of the reports that I pulled in or created or out-of-the-box reports are available here. But if I need to create a new container, so maybe I needed to do a job cost report or a work order report, I have access, even though those aren't reports that we provide out of the box, I can say add data container. It's asking me if everything's from a single table, I can just say table. If it's from multiple tables, I have more options as far as do I want to do a SQL join, do I want to view, do I want a graphical join. And graphical join, if you have done any Crystal reporting, you may remember seeing all the tables and being able to link specific fields. That is one way. And again, if you want to pull in multiple tables, I will give it a name. I'll just say John's, say OK. And then I can actually kind of drill into that and go to the graphical join tool. And what I'll get now is a list of all of the tables from the Sage 100 database. So this will now enable me to select the tables that I'm going to need to pull data from. So again, I can create a container with the tables that I need to create a report. So again, that would be the way I would create one from scratch. But if I needed to, for example, the customer sales one, I could always go in and review that and see how that's set up. So if you wanted, okay, that's kind of how I want to do it, or that's similar to what I need, this would give you an idea of exactly how those tables are linked and joined. So kind of go in and review and set that up, how you need to mirror that if it's a similar report to what you need. Now on the resources side, how to get more knowledge or how to learn more about Sage Intelligence. So let me actually go to my web browser, and there are multiple resources available. I'm just going to go back to Chrome here, and I created some shortcuts. I'm going to just create a new tab here. One of which I'm going to point out is the sageintelligence.com. Now I've specifically shortcut the learning and resources page. So you can essentially download the kickoff, watch how-to videos. Now this will actually link me to YouTube. Just to kind of show you what that would be, there's actually a specific Sage Intelligence YouTube channel. So you can see essentially here, and what's nice is, there's a selection of mini report videos available, but they are grouped by product. So, if you're Sage 100, you go to Sage 100, you can view the reports that are specific to Sage 100. Again, 30 plus videos here, 15 videos, various topics, ribbon feature, how to utilize the tool. So you always have that quick and easy reference to go in and I'd like to know more about this tool. I'd like to know more about that tool. And let me go back to the resources page. Webcast list, the community. The community is another thing. Again, I made another shortcut here for that. And then I'll come back to the community, but to get free reports. So this is a very valuable tool in that we have what we call the report utility. And essentially, again, we can come in and pick by Sage, the solution you're using. I'm going to stick to Sage 100 in this case. And essentially, you can download the report utility. The utility gives you direct access to download the reports that you need. So what you'll see is there's groupings of many free reports, and these are completely free reports. So I'll just kind of expand this to kind of show you what's available and how to utilize and kind of get more information. So you'll see under the cash management, report designer cash flow, periodic cash flow prediction. The quick info link will actually give you the a look at as far as what a sample of the report is and the description, and of course you can download that report. So again, quite a collection of very, very useful reports. Now again, I'll just kind of expand this through to kind of give you an idea as far as a purchases dashboard, financial reports, inventory reports, Power View reports, project and job costing if you utilize the job cost system, sales reports, and quite a few sales reports, and then vendor reports. Now when I download the actual utility, you can download that report utility from here. What's nice is if we go back to my desktop, so let me minimize here and minimize Sage 100, I essentially have access to, this is essentially what I downloaded, and you just launch that report, and the reports that are available from the website, that complete selection of reports is available to select. So I can pick and choose what I want. And essentially when I download those reports, they will automatically be pushed into the report designer so I can review and make changes if I need to. And again, just to kind of show, if I go back to the report manager, it will create a new report. So everything that you download will default to new reports. And I've done that multiple times, so I've had multiple copies. To give you an idea of some of the reports, purchases dashboard, so top 5 vendor cities, purchase trend analysis, product lines, top vendor supplies, and you'll see the vendor name. So I can actually specify a vendor and have that update for a specific vendor, or month, or city, or product line. If I go to the report designer forecast, income statement forecast, so we get some more detail here as far as more detail, more information, more samples of financial reports. And then on the sales side, for the sales splash report, I really, really like this report in that I can specify a date range. It's going to show me the total sales for the period I've defined. It will tell me and break down how many customers were invoiced in that period, who had the highest sale amount, who had the lowest sale amount. All the information as far as the average sale, the highest sale, the lowest sale, the top salesperson, the lowest salesperson, average daily sales, and I can actually come in and look at a specific date, and it will update and show me the average sales or highest sale for that specific date. So again, some powerful, very nice reports that are available for free from from the website. Again, if you go back into the sageintelligence.com and resources, that would be a great way to access that information. Again, what's nice is you can kind of come in here as far as this would be the place to get a reference for what each report is and whether or not you want to download it, or you may just want to download them all and just look at them from the system with your data. So again, download the utility, and then once the utility is downloaded, it will actually recognize what Sage Business Management, like it will recognize you as Sage 100, and pull in only the reports specific to Sage 100. And again, you can pick and choose what you want to download. But that, again, is a very powerful resource. There's lots of great reports available for you within that interface. And again, free reports. And again, another reference is, some of those flash reports or the Power View reports. Download those, see how they're set up, and then you can start to copy how those are set up for your own custom reports. So now we're about 10 minutes. I want to make sure that we have plenty of time for questions. So let me go ahead and go back to So again, the Sage Intelligence. So sageintelligence.com, and then you'll see the tabs, but there's a resources tab, product guides, how-to videos, real-time and recorded webcast, access to the community, so you can interact with other users, ask other users questions, tips and tricks. And now I'll turn this back over to Socius.
Yeah, so just a couple quick announcements. We do have the Sage Q2 promotions are on our website, the link's there. Also, if you are considering attending Sage Summit in Chicago, we'd love to see you there. The dates are July 25th through the 28th, and you can get more information at socius1.com. And there is a discount code that you see there. It's our company name to save $200 off your registration for Sage Summit. And if you have any questions, once again, you can raise your hand or fill in the chat or question feature, and we will get those to John, or open up your line. I do see one question, John. Someone's asking, can I consolidate my companies?
Yes. So that is an option that is available through the consolidated. You go to the financial area, the report designer, and you'll see consolidated reports so that you can do a template. You can definitely, again, if you have multiple companies in your Sage 100 database, you can create financials, consolidated financial statements based on one or more of your Sage 100 companies.
Great, thank you. We have another question. Is it available in the online version?
Sage 100 online?
I would assume so, yes.
I don't believe that it is. I would have to double check. I don't remember. I've been in there and I don't remember seeing it. So I want to say no, but I will double check. And if you can, I assume that you have the
yeah, we have the
person asking the question. We can
exactly.
get back to that.
Yeah, we'll circle back with you, clarification on that.
Yeah, I typically work with the on-premise version, and I have had little exposure to the online. I want to say that it is not available, but I will double check to verify.
Okay, great. We'll circle back on that. Another question, can I convert my FRX reports to Sage Intelligence?
Absolutely, and what I'd recommend is there's some specific resources. If you go back to the community, one of the first, if you go into, again, Sage community, one of the first things you'll see on the Sage 100 community page under the Sage 100 Intelligence community, the specific page for Sage 100 has specific links and references to how to convert FRX, existing FRX reports into Sage Intelligence reports. And I believe you have some links. I provided some links beforehand that you could probably send to those users.
Yeah, we can post the links in addition to the presentation following the event today, and make sure that everyone has a link to those. And it looks like one last question. If I add an account, will they appear in the report?
That is a rather complicated report. There's a complicated question. So by default, so if I have an existing report that I've pre-configured and defined, depending on how that report's set up, I may or may not see that account represented in that report automatically. And that would drill into, if I have a report, I may need to, and I run the missing account, so I add a new account, it will not automatically appear on the report unless I have set the report up to use a range. So if I have set the report up to pull in accounts by a range, I will get the total value of that account in the summary information for the accounts, but I may not see a detailed listing. So it kind of depends on what you need to see. If you are okay with the summary details, if you set up your report with a range, it will incorporate, as long as that new account is within the range that you specified the report, the summary information will pull the account balance and it will be included in the summary information for the accounts in that range. If you like to drill into and see the detail, then you won't see that account by default. You would have to manually add that to the report. Again, that's I recommend, there's some different, different scenarios, and that's why it's not a straightforward question. Kind of depends on how you set up the report. So in some cases, you'll see the value from the account incorporated into, if you set up with a range and that account is limited in the range. Otherwise, but you may not see the details, so it's just a matter of how you need to see that. So you may need to go back and modify the report to add it. It may automatically pick it up and incorporate the value of the account balance into the report, again, just depending on how you set up the report.
Okay, thank you for tackling that question for us. If anyone finds themselves in that situation and wants some additional detail specific to their organization and how they're using it, please contact your account managers. Their contact information is on the screen here. As you can see, I see no other questions in the queue, so additionally, if you think of something or have a question come up, please reach out to your associates account managers and we'll get that question resolved for you. I want to thank you again, John, for presenting, and all of you for attending, and wish you a wonderful day.
All right, you're very welcome. Thanks.
Thank you.